This week on the Catholic High School Spotlight, I'm joined by new St. John's president, Carl Ertl. Carl, thank you so much for joining us today.
Sherwin, thanks so much for having me.
We're about a quarter of the way through the year. How is your assessment being the president so far?
It has been fantastic, and certainly the St. John's community, but the whole Toledo community has been so welcoming. It's been a blessing to be here in Northwest Ohio.
You're from Cleveland, the Cleveland area, but you're new here to Toledo. What have you learned, or what's the biggest surprise about this community?
I have to say the warmth of the community has totally overwhelmed me. The beauty of the metro parks and the system, and really the way that the Catholic schools all cooperate within the diocese, it's all been very impressive.
What's the difference, I wanted to know this myself, between a principal and the president like yourself?
Our principal is a guy named Brendan Malone, who's from the class of '01, a fantastic leader. He's a longtime teacher and coach. He works more in the day-to-day and makes sure that the trains run on time. I'm more forward with the strategic plan, working the board, alumni, and the fundraising, community outreach efforts like this.
Have you met any special alumni from the past that you want to share stories about?
I have. Probably one of the first VIPs I met, I came up to a golf tournament that was a memorial tournament, a fundraiser, and I met Jack Muhort. I had known Jack, and he had played and was a roommate with one of the kids that I knew real well from one of my previous schools. So to shake hands and look up to Jack, a former Indianapolis Colt and a great alumnus, he's so loyal, like so many, giving back to the Titan community.
Tell me a little bit more about your past.
Well, I met the Jesuits in the fall of 1975 when I was a freshman at St. Ignatius, Cleveland, then on to John Carroll, and then working in Jesuit schools my entire career. So it's been awesome knowing so many people. That's part of what made the transition so easy, was that I knew many of the folks in the St. John's community already from our Jesuit networks and conferences and when we played each other in sports.
Speaking about sports, I was at St. John's game just past Friday doing the student section of the week, which they won. Congratulations on that, by the way. But you were telling me about a situation that happened and that the community came together to support someone.
Yes, and thanks so much for being there, and our Spirit Squad does a tremendous job.
They
We're
really
very proud of them. But St. Ursula lost a young freshman, and we all prayed together for Carly. Each of us, the schools, the 5 or 6 of us have offered for counseling, and we certainly prayed for her and the entire community. To lose a freshman student is just tragic, and so we want to bring the best of all the Catholic schools together as we support them.
Looking ahead to the winter sports, how are things looking for that?
Well, if I could go back to the fall for just a second, everyone is doing very well. The varsity's still looking for that first win, but we're very impressed with the younger squad. And then we also have an academy that feeds into the high school, and they're doing very well in sports too, especially in football, so we're excited. But basketball, we have great height, a superb point guard who's being highly recruited. We're really looking forward to a great fall season. Sly is our head wrestling coach, does a tremendous job bringing in the students and helping them learn and develop their best talent. But in all of them, as you know, it's so important. Academics have to come first. And even before the academics is really the faith. And so we work in that mission and the eligibility and making sure that they're doing the best they can in the classroom and as young men for others.
Well, that's great. We look forward to the winter, the rest of the fall as well. Thanks so much for joining us today, Carl.
Thank you for having me, Sherman. Thanks for all that BCSN does. And shout out to our alumnus, Marcus Harrison, who works for BCSN.